Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Today I want to discuss the second episode of the 8th season of HBO's mega hit series Game of Thrones. There will be spoilers in this video, so viewers, if you aren't caught up on all of Game of Thrones, including what was revealed in next week's teaser promo, please be warned. The spoilers are about to begin.
The perils of self-betterment.
All my life, I've known one goal. The Iron Throne.
The Lord of Light has brought us together all the same.
How many battles have we survived between us?
We need every man we can get.
I promise to fight for the living. I intend to keep that promise.
I want to fight for Winterfell, Lady Sansa.
I want to fight too.
Why didn't you tell them?
You won't be able to help us in this fight if I let them murder you first.
Your Grace, I have fought before. I can do it again, alongside the men and women risking their lives.
There are thousands of them, and only one of you.
Everyone seems to forget that I was the first man to kill a White Walker. I've killed Fens.
Fen.
I've saved Gilly more than once. I stole a considerable number of books from the Citadel Library.
I will not hide underground. I pledge to fight for the North, and I will fight. All right, I'll defend Crypt then.
Your father, he taught me how to be a man. How to do what's right.
Fighting Jon's war alongside him. Tell me who manipulated whom.
I'll wield it in his memory. To guard the realms of men.
We defeat the dead. We destroy Cersei. What happens then?
What about afterwards?
How do you know there is an afterwards?
The perils of self-betterment.
There were so many little things I enjoyed about this episode that I'm likely to forget to mention some of them here. But basically, I think a lot of what we're seeing is a final farewell for some of these characters ahead of the inevitable big battle at Winterfell. And even if it's not a final farewell for most of them, I believe we are still witnessing what will likely become the defining acts for many of them, particularly the ones who've journeyed longest throughout the show. So I thought there were a lot of interesting final pieces being put into place ahead of the big battle, and I especially enjoyed the way the bond between Jaime and Brienne has become pivotal in whatever is about to happen.
We have never had a conversation last this long without you insulting me. Not once.
Do you think you could beat me in a fair fight?
I've never seen you fight.
The answer is no. One or two must have tried to get inside Big Brienne.
One or two tried.
Ah, but you fought them off.
You know, it doesn't matter how loyal a servant you are. No one enjoys the company of a humorless mute. Trust me on this. You want me to insult you?
No.
Good.
All my life I've been hearing, Jaime Lannister. What a brilliant swordsman. He was slower than I expected.
But I know Sir Jaime. He is a man of honor.
Women and children burned alive. Would you have done it? Would you have kept your oath then?
I was his captor once. But when we were both taken prisoner and the men holding us tried to force themselves on me, Sir Jaime defended me.
I know what you did for me. You told them Tarth was full of sapphires.
A wooden sword.
Thought you'd gone.
You gave her a wooden sword.
You've only got one bear.
Taking her to King's Landing. Unless you kill me.
Without him, my lady, you would not be alive. He armed me, armored me, and sent me to find you and bring you home.
It's yours.
I can't
It
accept.
was reforged from Ned Stark's sword. You'll use it to defend Ned Stark's daughter.
You gave it to me for a purpose. I have achieved that purpose.
Arya's probably dead too, but there's still a chance to find Sansa and get her somewhere safe. I've got something else for you. It's yours. It will always be yours. I'm not the fighter I used to be. But I'd be honored to serve under your command, if you'll have me.
Women can't be knights.
Why not?
Tradition.
Fuck tradition.
I didn't even want to be a knight.
But I'm loyal to the Queen, and you're loyal to Sansa and adult brothers.
Oh, fuck loyalty!
So why have you abandoned your house and family now?
Because this goes beyond loyalty. Any knight can make another knight. I'll prove it. Arise, Brienne of Tarth, a knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Sir Brienne of Tarth, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
The way that Jaime and Brienne's relationship has developed and evolved has always been one of the more captivating storylines for me. And for Jaime, I think we got many of the answers about his potential redemption in this episode. Jaime does indeed seem like a changed man. And the differences in his character during his 2 stays in Winterfell, it's night and day. Brienne was the individual directly responsible for Jaime's transformation because she taught him about the true meaning of honor. Before Brienne, Jaime couldn't understand being honorable if it wasn't in exchange for power or reward or status or some other tangible prize that could be had in return for being honorable. But Brienne embraced a type of loyalty and devotion where she was being honorable just for the mere sake of being honorable. This was completely foreign to Jaime, and he learned an awful lot from her about this ideal. And I confess, I was genuinely touched when Jaime knighted Brienne, bestowing upon her an honor she believed was impossible. And I believe this moment represents the culmination of their friendship. I still think before all is said and done, Jaime will have one final choice relating to his adorable twin sister. And whatever choice he ultimately makes will be the one that ultimately defines Jaime Lannister. But until then, things are certainly leaning in the direction of total redemption. Bran himself seems to believe Jaime potentially plays some bigger role in all of this.
Why didn't you tell them?
You won't be able to help us in this fight if I let them murder you first. He'll come for me. He's tried before, many times with many three-eyed ravens.
How will he find you?
His mark is on me. He always knows where I am.
The dragons should give us an edge in the field.
If they're in the field, they're not protecting Bran.
You want us to use you as bait?
We're not leaving you alone out there.
He won't be. I'll stay with him. We need to be near him. Not too near or the Night King won't come, but close enough to pursue him when he does.
Ever since Bran became the three-eyed raven, he's amassed an incredible wealth of knowledge. But he usually isn't especially forthcoming with sharing that knowledge. Quite the contrary. Bran usually seems perfectly content sitting around, deep in his own thoughts with his vast ocean of knowledge, and he typically says very little and keeps those thoughts to himself. This episode was a huge exception to that rule, and Bran actually laid out the primary goals for both sides. So now we have some idea of what the objectives at play will be when the battle commences. But the idea of using Bran as bait for the Night King, this has the potential to be hilariously glorious, with Bran being surrounded by so many would-be heroes in the making, as well as dragons, White Walkers, the dead, and any other forthcoming twists, turns, and surprises.
You make my weapon yet?
Just as soon as I'm done making a few thousand of these.
You should make mine first.
You're not scared of rapers or murderers or... This is different. This is death. You want to know what they're like? Death. That's what they're like.
You never used to shut up. Now you're just sitting there like a mute.
Guess I've changed.
I know death.
He's got many faces.
Where are you going?
I'm not spending my final hours with you two miserable old shits. I look forward to seeing this one.
My weapon.
I'll get right on it.
This'll work.
For those of you who did not receive the foreshadowing memo, this episode acted as a heavy-handed reminder that Arya Stark is inevitably going to kick a lot of ass during this final stretch. Incredibly, Arya seems to be the only one of the main characters especially interested in learning specifics about how to destroy the forthcoming Army of Doom. You'd think this would be a higher priority across the board, but at least Arya seems prepared to bring her A-game. Whether Arya winds up wearing the face of a White Walker, or whether she utilizes some other assassin scheme, she obviously has a huge role ahead, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if we are led to believe that Arya has died, only for her to triumphantly return later on under the guise of another. Meanwhile, the inevitable conflict between Daenerys and Jon has now been ignited.
All my life, I've known one goal. The Iron Throne.
A secret no one in the world knew. Except your brother and your best friend.
I don't know how to ride a dragon.
Nobody does, until they ride a dragon.
Doesn't seem strange to you?
It's true, Danny. I know it is.
What if he doesn't want me to?
Then I've enjoyed your company, Jon Snow.
If it were true, it would make you the last male heir of House Targaryen.
It's cold up here for a southern girl.
So keep your queen warm. All my life, I've known one goal. The Iron Throne.
So Jon Snow finally revealed the big secret to Daenerys, and she doesn't seem all too happy about this. But alas, the big battle is about to begin. So the inevitable conflict between the two is now delayed, which suggests that these two should both at least live long enough so that they can have some sort of resolution on this point, where I assume Jon will, as usual, not want the power and responsibility of ruling. I think it's worth remembering that most of the characters in Winterfell are embracing their respective roles in the fight to come, but Daenerys seems to be one of the exceptions, and possibly Sansa as well. Daenerys wants to rule, and she wants what she believes is her rightful spot on the Iron Throne. She put Tyrion away from fighting so that he could be safe from harm so that he could advise her down the road. Daenerys is thinking ahead, and ultimately, her lust for power will either make her or break her. But first, we need to see who's still standing at the end of the battle at Winterfell. And speaking of that upcoming battle, so far none of my shitbag predictions have come to fruition. So I'm assuming this battle will finally land me a few scalps among the many deaths I predicted. And one thing I eagerly await is watching the Unsullied get slaughtered on the battlefield. Next week's teaser suggests that they're right out there on the front lines. So the Unsullied are gonna get fucked up. As of right now, I honestly have no idea what's about to happen, but I imagine some of the things that are going to happen were foreshadowed. If Tyrion and Jaime escape the north, as I expect they will, Bronn will almost certainly come into play in some capacity. They've hinted that Daenerys may have to retreat south, and I definitely believe that that will happen. And I do believe we're going to get some type of misdirection where we're led to believe Arya has died. I believe Daenerys and Jon will survive long enough to have their moment of resolution. I tend to think Sansa might ultimately be the last leader standing. I definitely suspect Tyrion will rise to the occasion and overcome his self-doubt regarding his intellect. And I believe Jaime Lannister has one final choice ahead pertaining to his adorable twin sister. Long live Queen Cersei. However things play out, I for one cannot wait to see how these final 4 episodes unfold. Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed, and have a wonderful night.
Thank you, my lord.
I don't think that's wise. The battle might start at any moment. Half a cup.
Everyone seems to forget that I was the first man to kill a White Walker. I've killed Fens.
Sen.
I've saved Gilly more than once. I stole a considerable number of books from the Citadel Library.
Half a cup.
And you?
No, thank you. I should try and get some sleep.
You really think any of us are going to sleep tonight?
I always pictured myself dying in my own bed, at the age of 80, with a belly full of wine and a girl's mouth around my cock.